The discovery of the Titanic in the Atlantic off the coast of Canada has been the dream of countless deep-sea explorers.
Experts have used special technology to map the entire ship on the ocean floor and create its digital...
The deep ocean, it's the closest we have to another world, right here on our own planet. It's a realm of crushing pressure, endless darkness, and long-kept secrets. For over a century, the greatest of these secrets has been guarded by the wreck of the RMS Titanic, resting 2.5 miles beneath the frigid North Atlantic. We thought we knew its story. We thought it had given up all its ghosts. We were wrong. Just this year, in 2025, a deep-sea submersible on what was supposed to be a routine survey stumbled upon something impossible. Something no previous expedition had ever detected. It was a hidden safe, sealed and silent, and it wasn't on any of the ship's blueprints or manifests. And what they found inside didn't just rewrite the history of the world's most famous shipwreck, it threatens to change everything we know about our own future. The story you're about to hear is one that has been suppressed, a discovery so profound, it will make you question everything. Since its discovery in 1985, the wreck of the Titanic has been a place of both solemn remembrance and intense curiosity. Dozens of expeditions have charted its decay, photographing its ghostly hulls and recovering thousands of artifacts from the sprawling debris field. These missions have given us heartbreaking glimpses into the final moments of the 1,496 souls lost on that tragic night in April 1912. Now, history does remember one famous attempt to unlock the ship's secrets. Back in 1987, a team of treasure hunters located and raised a purser's safe from the wreck. The world watched, holding its breath, during a live TV broadcast. Rumors were swirling about priceless jewels and a lost fortune. But the reality? It was a little more mundane. When they finally got it open, the safe revealed mostly soggy banknotes and a few pieces of jewelry. It was a fascinating piece of history, sure, but it wasn't the stuff of legends. After that, most people just assumed that the Titanic had given up its most valuable secrets. Experts figured anything truly priceless was probably taken by passengers as they evacuated. So for decades, exploration continued, but the focus shifted to preservation, to mapping the wreck's inevitable decay. That all changed in the spring of 2025. A privately funded research group, led by the brilliant but pretty controversial oceanographer Dr. Eris Thorne, was conducting a new kind of survey. Their submersible, the Neptune's Eye, was unlike anything that had visited the site before. It was armed with a next-generation quantum magnetic resonance scanner, a piece of tech that could map the density of materials on the seafloor with unbelievable detail. Thorne and his lead technician, Lena Petrova, weren't just looking at the ship, they were looking through the seabed itself. Their official mission was to create a complete geological and material survey of the site, to understand how the ocean was slowly eating away at the steel giant. For 2 weeks, it was business as usual. The Neptune's Eye crawled through the darkness, its powerful lights cutting through the gloom, painting these eerie pictures of shattered grandeur on the control room monitors. The bow section, still majestic. The stern, a mangled mess of twisted metal. And that vast debris field, a haunting underwater graveyard. Then, on day 14, Petrova saw something that made her heart stop. An anomaly. It was located almost half a mile from the main wreck, out in a desolate, silt-covered area that everyone else had ignored. The scanner was flagging an object with extraordinary density, buried 10 feet under the mud. It was small, perfectly symmetrical, and its material composition was impossible. It wasn't iron, or steel, or any metal they'd expect. The reading was off the charts, suggesting a material way denser than anything that had any business being down there. Thorne's voice crackled over the comms, ordering them to change course immediately. Something was down there, something that had been waiting, completely hidden, for over 113 years. The journey to the anomaly was nerve-wracking. The Neptune's Eye was being pushed to its limits, heading into a totally unmapped and possibly unstable part of the seabed. The memory of the 2023 Titan submersible tragedy was a heavy cloud in the control room, a stark reminder of just how unforgiving the deep ocean is. Every creak of the submersible's hull was a gut punch, a reminder of the 12,500 feet of water pressing down on them, a weight that could crush them into nothing in a millisecond. On the monitors, Petrova guided the sub's robotic arms. They were using high-pressure water jets to carefully blast away layers of silt. It was agonizing work. For 6 straight hours, they meticulously cleared away mud and sediment, slowly revealing the outline of something dark and man-made. This wasn't a piece of the ship's hull, or a boiler, or anything recognizable. It was a box. A massive, featureless cube made of a dark, matte metal. There were no hinges, no seams, no dial. Just a perfectly smooth, intimidating black vault. Dr. Thorne, watching from the surface ship, was stunned into silence. This was no ordinary strongbox. His initial analysis of the material confirmed his wildest suspicions. The safe was lined with an incredibly thick layer of lead. Lead. The one material famous for blocking most types of radiation and energy signals. Why on earth would someone build a lead-lined safe for a trip across the Atlantic? It wasn't designed to protect its contents from thieves, it felt like it was designed to hide them from the entire world. But they had a huge problem. The safe was partially wedged under a large, twisted plate of the Titanic's hull. If they tried to move it, they could trigger a submarine landslide, burying it forever, or even worse, entangling the Neptune's eye. Thorne and Petrova spent the next 24 hours running simulations, mapping every angle, and calculating the insane risks. Finally, they made a decision, a precision excavation. Using the submersible's manipulator arms, which had the delicacy to handle an egg but the strength to bend steel, they would carefully cut away the section of hull pinning the safe down. The tension was suffocating. For hours, the only sounds were the hum of the sub's electronics, the hiss of the water jets, and Lena Petrova's strained, focused breathing. Sparks flew in the deep-sea darkness as the cutting tool sliced through the century-old steel. Finally, with a deep, groaning sound that vibrated through the water, the hull plating broke free and settled into the mud. The safe was free. They spent another hour clearing the rest of the silt. As the last of the mud washed away, they saw it. An inscription. It was small, etched just below a complex locking mechanism that looked like nothing they'd ever seen. It wasn't a manufacturer's mark. It was a crest, a stylized bird with outstretched wings, clutching a key, and beneath it, 2 initials, AF. Nobody on the Titanic's passenger or crew list had those initials. This thing had just gone from a mystery to a full-blown enigma. Who was AF? And what could possibly be so important that it needed to be hidden in a lead-lined vault, at the bottom of a forgotten corner of the ocean? The history books were silent. The team knew, with a chilling certainty, they were about to uncover a secret that was never meant to be found. A frantic debate immediately broke out between the Neptune's Eye and the Surface Command. Standard procedure would be to rig the artifact and lift it to the surface. But Thorne argued passionately against it. The extreme pressure change could be catastrophic. What if the contents weren't just valuable, but volatile? That lead lining screamed danger. What if opening it on the surface was exactly what the creator didn't want? In a move that broke every rule in the book, Thorne made the call. We open it here. On the seabed. Petrova, alone at the bottom of the world, took a deep breath. She repositioned the Neptune's Eye, flooding the strange safe with light. She selected a diamond-tipped laser cutter from the sub's payload. The plan was to surgically cut around the locking mechanism, bypassing it completely. The moment the laser touched the alien metal, a blinding light flared, forcing the sub's optical sensors to auto-dim. The material was even tougher than they'd imagined. Hours bled together. The submersible's battery levels were getting critical. Petrova worked with a focus born from pure adrenaline. Slowly, painstakingly, she carved a perfect square into the face of the vault. With one final cut, the section came loose. Using a delicate pincer claw, she pulled the slab of metal away. The outer door was breached. You could hear a collective gasp over the comms. Inside, there was no treasure trove of diamonds or gold. Instead, the safe was filled with a strange, inert packing material, like black, glassy foam. And nestled in the center was another container. This one was a stunningly beautiful mahogany box, about the size of a large briefcase. The wood was perfectly preserved, as if it had been made yesterday. A mystery box inside a mystery box. The mahogany case wasn't locked. It was sealed with a large, intricate wax seal, stamped with the same crest they'd found on the vault, the bird, the key, and the initials AF. There was no turning back. With the sub's tiniest manipulator tool, a pincer normally used for biological samples, Petrova gently chipped at the wax seal. It crumbled away, revealing a simple brass latch. With one last, delicate nudge, the latch clicked open. The lid of the mahogany box, pushed by some unseen internal pressure, slowly swung upwards. The sub's high-definition camera zoomed in. For a moment, everyone was silent, just staring, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. The box held two items. On one side lay a thick, leather-bound journal, its pages looking perfectly dry. On the other side, were the crystals. There were 3 of them, each the size of a fist. They were cut with impossible geometric precision, and they gave off a soft, internal light of their own, a gentle, pulsing blue that seemed to mesmerize the cameras. They weren't diamonds, not quartz, not any known mineral on Earth. They seemed to be drinking the light from the submersible and radiating it back, alive. Lena Petrova could hear Dr. Thorne's choked whisper over the comms. "My God. They're real." Under a complete media blackout, the mahogany box was brought to the surface. The journal and the strange, glowing crystals were whisked away to a secure, undisclosed research facility. And what they revealed was more explosive than anyone could have ever imagined. The journal belonged to a man named Alastair Finch. Cross-referencing hidden archives and private shipping logs, Thorne's team pieced it together. Finch was a reclusive, genius-level inventor and physicist who had booked his trip on the Titanic under a fake name. He was a man who, according to the few snippets of information they could find, was decades ahead of his time, exploring ideas like quantum mechanics and zero-point energy while the rest of the world was still excited about the radio. His journal was both a scientific manifesto and a terrifying confession. The Titanic, he wrote, wasn't just a luxury liner, it was supposed to be his stage. Finch had developed a revolutionary power source, one that tapped into the very fabric of the universe itself. He called it etheric resonance. The glowing blue crystals were the heart of his invention. They weren't natural. They were, he claimed, grown in a lab, able to convert ambient quantum energy into a limitless, clean power source. Just one of these crystals, he wrote, could power a city for a year. The Titanic itself was secretly retrofitted to be the first public demonstration of this world-changing tech. But Finch's work hadn't gone unnoticed. His journal described threats and intimidation from a shadowy group of the world's most powerful industrial titans, men whose entire fortunes were built on coal and oil. They didn't see his discovery as a gift to humanity. They saw it as an existential threat to their global monopoly on energy. They tried to buy him out, to steal his research, and when that failed, they decided to bury it. The final entries of the journal, written in a frantic, hurried script, tell the chilling truth. The sinking of the Titanic was no accident. It was an act of industrial sabotage on an unthinkable scale. Finch wrote that a terrified informant on the crew had told him the ship was deliberately steered into the ice field. The collision wasn't a tragic mistake, it was an assassination. An assassination of an idea, and of the man behind it. Finch, knowing he was doomed, placed his life's work, the journal and 3 of his precious crystals, into the lead-line safe he had specially built, a final, desperate message in a bottle thrown into the abyss. He hoped that one day, the world would be ready for the truth. Scientific analysis of the crystals confirmed Finch's unbelievable claims. In a controlled test, a single crystal, when hit with a specific resonant frequency, began to generate a staggering amount of thermal energy. No fuel source, no radioactive byproducts. It was clean, it was limitless, and it had been hidden from the world for more than a century by an act of mass murder. The discovery didn't just rewrite history. It gave humanity a profound choice. The technology to solve the energy crisis, to reverse climate change, and to lift up our entire civilization had been within our grasp all along, stolen by greed and violence. The legacy of the Titanic was no longer just a story of hubris and tragedy, it was the story of the greatest conspiracy in human history. The journey of the Neptune's Eye started as a scientific survey and ended by uncovering a secret that shakes the very foundations of our world. From a mysterious blip on a scanner to a lead-line safe, a hidden journal, and a technology that could change everything, the true story of the Titanic is so much more complex than we ever knew. We now have to face the staggering reality that our own history was manipulated, and a future of clean, abundant energy was deliberately sunk to the bottom of the ocean. It makes you ask a terrifying question: if a conspiracy this big could hide the truth for over a century, what other secrets does our history hold? What other discoveries are just waiting to be found, hidden not just in the deep sea, but in forgotten archives and censored records of our past? If you were captivated by this journey into the unknown, and you want to explore more of the world's greatest mysteries, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Let us know in the comments, what do you believe is the biggest secret yet to be uncovered? And for another dive into a discovery that will challenge everything you think you know, click the video on your screen right now. You won't be disappointed.